Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Destiny and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and create a simple view. Then we're going to go ahead and start creating the models for the chat application. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, do make sure to drop a like and consider subscribing, as it will really mean the world to me. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing you'd want to do is open up your code editor. And if you remember from the last video, we created the Django admin and it's looking really amazing. So I'm going to close this off now. And I want to do a couple of things. Firstly, I want to open up the chat app over here and I'm going to create a new view. I'm going to come over to this view over here. I'm going to say define and we'll call this index or whatever we want. Now in here, we could pass in a simple parameter and that's going to be request. Okay. So now alongside the request, we simply want to go ahead and return a template. So we could say return render and we'll pass in request. And over here, we're going to call the name of the template. So we could just say chat/index.html. And what this simply means is that there's going to be a folder called chat and there's going to be a file called index.html. So I'd want you to copy all this that you have in between the strings, come over to the templates folder, right click and click on new file and paste whatever you copied and hit enter on your keyboard. Now what you notice, it automatically creates a folder called chat and it puts in a template or file in there called index.html. So after that's done, I think that's pretty much what I want to do. Now let's open up the chat PRJ and we need to import that. So we need to say from chat. So I'm going to say from chat.views. Simply want to import index. And over here we can go ahead and pass in parts and I want to leave that at the home page. Now I'm just going to pass in index over here. So with all this been done now, let's refresh our server and as you can see, it's running well. So if I come over to my home page, what do you notice? We've got an empty page over here. Now, if I open up the index, I'm passing h1 and I say something like welcome. Okay, that's not what I want. I'm going to say welcome. Okay, what am I typing? Welcome to my chat app. And refresh this. Now, what do you notice? We got welcome to my chat app. So the template is working really fine, but I don't want the URLs to be this way. I want to actually have a separate URL for my applications. So what am I going to do? I'm simply going to come over here and I'm going to create a new file in the chat app and I'm going to call this urls.py. And in here, I want to import a couple of things. I'm going to say from Django.urls, I simply want to import parts. And I also want to say from chat.views, or we could just say from chats, I want to import views. Okay, anyone, it's going to work perfectly well. So after this, the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and pass in a URL patterns and URL patterns. Okay, that's not the right spelling of patterns. And we need to open up a list over here. And as you all know, list takes in multiple values. So this empty string over here is pretty much that we want the home page to be on this empty string. We don't want to access the home page by coming over to /homepage or something. Whenever we hit the first endpoint in our website, we want to get the home page. Okay. Now I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to say views.index. Now, how did I get this index that is not showing up over here? Remember, I have this thing called views over here. Now, take note, I could do something like from chat.views. I could go ahead and import. Okay, this is supposed to be from. I could do something like from chat.views, go ahead and import index. Okay, now from chat.views import index, that means from this chat over here, from this views import this index thing that we've got over here. And I could also do from chat import views. So that's what I did over here from chat import views, and I simply chained views.index. So if you hold down Control and click on this view, now you can see that we've got index over here. So if for any reason I change this to index with a double D, then there's going to be an error. Okay, guys, so I think that's pretty much it. Now we also need to add a name. So this name is what we're going to be using for the URLs, and we could go ahead and call this one index. Okay, so now I could get rid of this other one that I have imported over there. And in order to make this to work now, if I come over here and refresh, but let's make sure that I've gotten rid of this one over here. I don't need this any longer, and I don't need this any longer. Now, if we refresh this, we're going to get an error because we don't have the home page again. So in order to include it, what we're simply going to do is alongside the parts, we also want to import an include method over there. So here we're just going to say parts, then we come over to the home page and we're simply going to call the include thing that we imported, and we're going to open up a parentheses, and in here that's why we're going to pass in chat.urls. So don't add a py or .html or whatever, because you all know that .py is the extension. This is it over here, urls.py. No, you don't want to add that. This simply means that we did from chat import URLs. That's what this means. Okay. Now after this is done, I could go ahead and run my server again. Right now everything should work perfectly well. So we refresh this, come over here and refresh. What you notice is still running perfectly well. Now another thing that I want to do right now that I'm in the urls.py is go ahead and configure the static files. So I'm going to say from Django, and this is something we're supposed to do in the other videos, but that actually escaped my mind. I'm going to do it over here. So I'm going to say from django.conf import settings, and from django.conf.urls.static, I want to go ahead and import static. Okay, so when we've done this now, we need to go ahead and write a simple conditional statement. I'm going to say if settings.debug. So this means if settings.debug is equal to true in the settings.py. So over here we're simply going to say URL patterns should be plus equals, and we're going to pass in the static thing that we imported at the top. So we're going to say static. And what do we want to do over here? I want to open up a parenthesis, and we're going to say settings.static URL. So remember the static URL thing that we've got in our settings.py. I'm going to show it to you guys right now. If I open up the settings over here, I'm going to look for that settings.py. Now the static URL thing, that's what we want to put in the URL. Okay, and we are doing all this because we want to be able to access images and also access media files. So back to the URLs, chats.prj. We pass in this, and alongside the chats, the static URL, I also want to pass in document underscore roots should be equal to settings.static roots. So remember another one that we created that was called static underscore roots. So that's it. Now I'm going to duplicate this, and this one now is going to be the other way around, and everything is going to be media. So this is going to be media. And also this one is going to be media URL. Okay, so media URL. So guys, that's pretty much what I want to do. And over here, as you can see, there is an error. This is supposed to be the bug. Hopefully you found out before me. And now let's go ahead and run our server one more time. I'm going to break it off over there, and I'm going to say python manage.py run server. And as you can see right now, it's running perfectly well. So if you refresh, everything should still be working perfectly well. So guys, I think that's it. Now let's go ahead and start writing the models. So I'm going to close out all this, and I'm going to open up the models.py for the chats app. And this is totally up to you. You could add in whatever you want in the model, and you could actually make it look anyhow you want. Let's say you want users to actually send images or stickers or whatever at all, then you could go ahead and add in the functionality over here. So without wasting any more time, let's go ahead and get started. And if this is like the first video that you are taking in Django, or let's say you're pretty new to Django models are simply where we structure the way we want our database to look and create tables and all that. That's the simplest way I can explain it, okay? So now we need to import a couple of things to go ahead and start working with this. But for now, actually, we could go ahead and start creating class without importing anything. But along the way, we're going to start importing whatever that we've been needing. So firstly, I'm going to say class, and that should be in the lowercase, or you're going to get an error. Now, we could go ahead and start off with, okay, we could say, okay, we want to start off with creating messages, not rooms first. We could start off with messages. Then I'm just going to say class, then I'm going to call this messages. And in here, we could pass in models.model. And you might be like, okay, why am I passing in model? That's pretty much because over here, we have this from django.db imports model. Just like what we did in the from chats import views, that's what's going on over here. So if you open up this model, hold down control and click on it and come over here and search for model, then you're going to see that there is going to be a package called model. I'm going to make sure I filter that by this. So what do you notice? There is a package called model, and not even only that, there is another one over here called model. Okay, so you might be like, okay, what if I don't want to say models.model? You can actually go ahead and just pass in only model like this. But now there's going to be an error. That's simply because you need to go ahead and import it. So we're going to say from django.db.models, we want to import model. So this is going to work perfectly well, okay? Now, after you've done this, let's add a couple of fields. Firstly, I'm going to say user should be equal to models.foreign key. And this foreign key that we're passing in over here in the message model means that we want a user to be able to have multiple message. Now, if we say models.one-to-one field, that means we want a user to be able to send only one message. So whenever they say something like hi, that's going to be it. If they try sending another message, there's going to be an error, okay? But if you want the user to be able to send something like hey, hi, what's up, hello, I'm there, come on, cool, then you're going to pass in a foreign key over here. That means a user is going to be able to have many messages. Now over here, the foreign key actually takes another parameter, and that one is called user. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a yellow underline under the user, and that means that there is an error. So I'm going to zoom this in so you see everything that's going on. That means there is an error over there. Now we need to go ahead and import from Django.contrib.auth.models. We want to import the user model. Now the error is going to be gone. So the foreign key takes in another argument, and that's going to be an onDelete. Now I'm going to pass in models.cascade. And what does this mean? This simply means whenever a user gets deleted, we want to delete all their messages. So I'm sure you must have been on Instagram before, and let's say you must have a friend that you were chatting with, and let's say their account gets banned or disabled. Then what happens whenever they disable their account? All their messages disappears, right? That's pretty much because Instagram is using onDelete should be models.cascade. Now you might be like, okay, what if I don't want to delete all their messages if the user get deleted? What if I want to still keep their messages as for reference? Then what you want to do is pass in set_null. Okay, and if you're passing in set_null, that means this user is going to be null in the database, and it's going to throw an error. It's going to say, hey, come on, we are looking for a user to associate these messages with. Now you can go ahead and tell Django, hey Django, when the user gets deleted, don't delete all the messages, just turn the field where the user is to be null. As simple as that. So you need to pass in null should be true. Now alongside the null should be true and set null, you could also pass in do nothing. So this is absolutely not going to do anything if a user get deleted. No messages are going to get erased. It's not going to throw an error. It's not going to do anything. Okay, but I'd recommend you either use the set null equals to true, or either way you could even use the cascade. So that's it. Hopefully you guys understand. Now another thing that I'm going to do is pass in sender over here. So for this one, I'm still going to use the same foreign key. So why not duplicate this? Now I'm just going to change this user over here to sender. And it's still the same foreign key user, still models.cascade, but we want to pass in the related name. So a related name should be equal to from_user. Now related names could be anything, and why are we passing in the related name in the sender and not in the user? So by default, Django is going to throw an error because there are two users over here. It's going to be like, okay, so which user am I supposed to know that have the exact model? Okay, and in order to tell Django, hey, these are different users. Now you could say from user, and I'm going to have another one, so I could just duplicate that, and this one is going to be to user. So this one is going to be recipient. So that's going to be RECIEPIENT. I don't know, I usually misspell that whenever I want to, use the word recipient. Okay, so now sender is pretty much we that we are sending the message. Recipient is you that's going to get the message. Okay, now after we've done that, we also need the body, right? So body is going to be like, hey, what's up? Hey, come on. Hey, where are you? Something like that. So now the body could use a text field, because you might actually want to type a whole lot of text, and text field is going to come in handy for that. And we could say null equals to true for now. We could say null equals to true, but we're going to go ahead and get rid of this later, because we don't want the user to actually send empty messages. That doesn't make any sense. Now alongside the body, we want to get a date. So when a user creates a message, we want to go ahead and say, okay, you sent this message 1:16 p.m. in the morning, the afternoon, in the evening, whatever. We want to do that. And we automatically want to get the time that a user sends the message immediately. And for that, we're going to pass in this simple line, auto now add should be equal to true. Okay, so when that's done, another thing that we're going to be needing is isRead. So isRead is going to help us keep track of messages that are either read or unread. Now this one is going to be Boolean field, and by default a message should not be read. So let's say I'm away, I'm not online, and someone sends me a message. By default that message should be unread. Okay, so whenever I view the message, then I want this unread to turn to read, which is now going to be true. And we're going to be doing all this dynamically. So after we've done this, now we're going to go ahead and start creating some functions that's going to send message, and also some functions that's going to get messages. Okay, now firstly I'm going to say define sender message. So the sender message is pretty much our message. Okay, so this is how we're going to be processing it. Now it's going to take in a couple parameters. The first one is going to be from user, the other one is going to be to user, and this other one is going to be body. Okay, and after we've done this, we could go ahead and say sender underscore message. Now I want you guys to follow along with what's going on as I explain. Should be equal to messages, and that's this messages that we've got over here. And I'm going to open up a bracket like that, and we could do something like messages should be equal to user should be from underscore user. Now, before I go ahead and continue, I want to explain this, because if you're totally new to Django, then this is going to be confusing. Now, this is what we want to do. So user over here is this one. Now I want this user to be from user. Take note, we are accessing this from user from whatever we're passing in here. So this one over here, you could call it whatever you want. You could call this Uncle Bobby or whatever you want. But let's stick with naming. I'm going to call this from user to user and body. Okay. So now let's say I passed in hello over here. Then I'm going to say user should be hello. Hello to user should be that. But because I passed in related names over here, I want to stick with the same naming from user. So I said user, this user over here is this one that's over here. This from user is this one that's in here as a parameter. Hopefully you understand. Now there is another one that's going to be sender. That's this field that we've got over here, sender. We want to auto-populate that field. Now sender is also going to be from what? From user. Because this message, okay, let me explain what's going on. Let's say you sent a message to Destiny. Now that message is for you because you are the one that started the conversation, and you also are the one that sends the first message. So because you started the conversation, this message belongs to you. Now I'm just going to put this is because you, is that right spelling? Because you started the conversation. Okay, because you started the convo. I'm just going to stick with that. And this one is because you sent the first message, because you sent the first message. So now alongside all this, there is another thing that we're going to be needing, and that's going to be the recipient. So I want to copy this so I stay away from errors. Now recipient is simply going to be to user. Hopefully you guys that right. Now I sent a message to you. You are the recipient. That means you are the user that I am sending a message to, and that's this one that I've passed in here, and the recipient is coming from over here. Hopefully you understand, because you are getting a message from me, a message from me. That means you are what? To user. So that means because you are to underscore user. Okay, so that's it. Now another thing that we're passing is the body. Now we got this body field over here. That's it, right? Now the body, we could simply go ahead and pass in this body. Hopefully you guys understand. That's this one over here. And as I said earlier, you could call this whatever you want. So if you're calling this, let's say you're calling this oranges, then I know that's going to spend the oranges. Then over here, you want to pass in oranges. And this is going to work perfectly well. Okay. So make sure that whatever you're passing in here could be anything. Then make sure that whatever you are passing in here is whatever you passed in here. Simple as that. Now we also want to go ahead and say is read should be equal to true. That means you have read the message. Okay, now we're going to be using this function in the view, and if for any reason you are confused, then I want you to take a chill pill. I want you to actually go back and try understanding everything that's going on from beginning. Okay, so after we've done this, now we want to go ahead and save this message. Now this is it over here. I could just bring this back, and just down here I could say sender underscore message dot save. As simple as that, and that's going to work. Now we need to create another one, and that one is going to be recipient's message. Now I'm going to pass in recipient underscore message, and for the recipient's message, what we simply want to say is messages, and I'm going to open up parentheses like that. And now we are pretty much doing the same thing that we did. So we're going to be starting off with the user. So who is going to receive the message? That is you, right? So it's going to be to user. I'm going to be asking you the question, and hopefully you're going to answer that. Let's get rid of that stuff that's on the screen. Now, who is going to be getting the user? Who is going to be getting the message? That is you. Who is sending the message? That's the sender. So who is sending the message? That is we, right? So I'm going to say from user. And the next question is, who is receiving the message? So that's going to be recipients on the recipient. I'm going to copy the recipient word. I'm going to paste it. So who is getting the message? From us, from user. Hopefully you're getting it, but if you're not following along with the answers, if for any reason you are missing it, then it's totally fine. If this is your first time, I don't expect you to actually understand anything that's going on. Just follow along, and with time you're gonna start understanding. So after we've done this, also body should be equal to body. We all know that. And is read should be equal to true. So guys, that's it. Now we're gonna go ahead and save this. So I'm going to copy the recipient's message. I'm going to get down here. I'm going to say recipient underscore message dot save. So now when that's done, that's pretty much it for the function. We could go ahead and return. Let's just return the sender message. Okay. So when we've done this, we need to go ahead and create one more function, and this one is going to be called I'm going to get down here. It's supposed to be down here. Let's minimize this. Now just down here, I'm going to be creating a new function, and that one is going to be called define get underscore messages. So get message, and it's going to take in just one parameter, and that one is going to be user. Okay, so this is what we want to do. Firstly, I'm going to create a user's variable, and we're going to set it to an empty string. Now the next thing that we're going to do is go ahead and create a variable. We're going to call this one messages, and this one should be equal to messages.object.filter. So take notes, you guys can actually do this in the views.py, but why not just do it over here and just call those functions in the view.py and everything is going to work fine. So we're going to say messages.object.filter, and what we want to do, we want to filter the message by user should be equal to user. So this user over here should be equal to this user parameter that we're passing here. So if for any reason you passed in Uncle Bobby over here, then that means over here you're still going to pass in Uncle Bobby, or wherever you're passing in oranges or pennies. Okay, so that's it. Now we need to go ahead and get the values of whatever messages that the user have got. So by default, a user is going to have a whole lot of messages, right? Hello, I said hello, you said hi. I said what's up, you said I'm cool. I asked you what we're going to be learning today. You said we're going to be learning how to build a chat app using Django, and so on and so forth. So there's going to be a whole lot of messages, right? And most of the time, all those messages are going to be stored in the list. So we're going to be using values, okay, to get the messages. And after we got values, the values that I want to get is recipient. So I'm just gonna copy the recipient word over here, and we're gonna pass it in there. Okay, so the message values that we're getting is recipient's own. Now after we've done that, we need to go ahead and annotate. Now what do we want to do? We want to get the last. So right now we are trying to get the last message, and what we are just trying to do is to make sure that the last message that we got in our inbox stays at the top. Okay, that's pretty much what we are trying to do now. Now after we say last, then we're going to pass in a simple max keyword over here, and I think we need to import that. That should be from Django.db if I'm not mistaken. I think over here, let me get to the top, from Django.db.models, import model and max. I think that should be it. Yeah, that's it. And there's also another one that's going to be called count, and there was also sum. So there's a lot of it like that. So we don't need the sum, count, blah, blah, blah thing. We just need the max. So we said last should be equal to max, and we are going to get the max by the date. Okay, so this is the date over here. Now, why didn't we pass in minus date? That's because we want to get the last message. Now, that's pretty much what we want to do. Then we could go ahead and order this by, then we could say order by minus last. Okay guys, I think that's pretty much it. We are ordering by this last over here. This minus last is pretty much this last that we got over here. So now this minus last that we passed in is going to get, let's say, I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to make a comment. So let's say these are our message inbox. Let's say Tanisha sent me a message, and let's say Flourish sent me a message. Then let's say whoever Gift sent me a message. Now, if all these guys sent me a message, then Tanisha was the last person that sent me a message, right? Yeah. So let's say while I was away, Gift also sent me a message. Now Gift is going to come to the top. Simple as that. Then Flourish sent a message. Flourish is going to come to the top. Then if eventually Gift sends another message, it's going to come to the top. As simple as that, okay? So I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys understand what's going on. If you don't understand this line, just hit me up, drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'm going to make sure to explain it to you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and keep going. Now we need to go ahead and run a for loop on this messages thing that we created, and we're going to say for message in messages. So this is the one that we want to use, for message in messages. And take note, this keyword message over here, you could call it whatever you want. As usual, you could call it Uncle Bobby, okay, or you could call it pennies, whatever is going to work. Then we're going to say for message in the messages, and what we want to do here is go ahead and append the messages to this users thing that we've got over here. So you remember that we created an array or a list, we called it users. We don't have anything in there yet. So whatever message that we are getting, so let's say Destiny let's say Flourish and Tanisha are sending a message to Destiny. We got the messages from here. Now we want to get the particular message that a particular user have. Let's say you have a message from, let's say, 3 people. Now we want to get all those messages and we want to append it to those users over here. So that's why we say from message and messages. Now we want to do something really cool. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to say users should be equal to I just want to say users to append rather. Okay, I already defined it over here. I thought I didn't define it already. So I'm going to say users to append, and I'm going to open up a parenthesis like that, open up a curly braces in here, and just down here, I'm going to create a simple object. So we say the user, and we're adding a colon over there, and we're going to say user, just like this. Then we want to say dot objects dot get, and what we want to get pk should be equal to message. And that's because we used message, because over here, as you can see, we got message. So whatever you pass in here should be what you are getting in there. Okay. And message, whose message do we want to get? We want to get recipients. So I'm going to pass in recipients over there. As simple as that. Now, another thing that we're going to get is the last. So as you already know, we got this last thing over here, this one over here. So in order to get that, what we simply want to say is message, and in the message we're simply going to get the last. Okay, so remember we got this messages over here that we're looping with messages, for message and messages. Now we simply say for each message gets the last one. Simple as that. Now there's going to be a comma, or you're going to get an error. Now we're going to get also the unread. I don't know why I keep forgetting to add a string before that. So I'm going to say this should be messages dot objects dot, and this one isn't going to be get or all, but it's going to be the filter, and one of filter user should be equal to user. So this user that's over here is pretty much this one that will pass in here, right? And user is equal to user. And another thing that we could pass in is go ahead and filter by the recipient. So I'm going to copy this recipient keyword that we've got over here. I'm going to paste this down. I'm going to say underscore pk should be equal to message, and this message is for recipient. So I'm going to paste that recipient in there. So hopefully you guys understand what's going on. Let me go ahead and explain. So we got on read. We're trying to get any message that is on read. And as you all know, we've already written a function to get on read messages. We have this red thing over here. Then just down here, I'm going to open this up. Guys, so we passed in this on read thing. You could call it whatever you want. We could say call it whatever you want. We could pass in this, but I'm calling mine on read, and I said message.objects.filter. Now I'm filtering by user should be equal to user. That means I want to get I want to get just all your messages, and I want to say recipient underscore primary key should be equal to message, and that's this message that we're looping over here, and in that we get the recipient. So what does this mean? This means that for Destiny, we want to get all the people that are going to get his message, for example, or all the people that are actually, sending me a message, that Tanisha, Flourish, whatever. Then we want to go ahead and get the ones that the unread is equal to false. So its read should be equal to false. And this means that we are getting just the messages that have not been read. Now, whenever we call this unread, that's when we're going to, work with this line that we wrote over here. So guys, I think that's pretty much it. And we could even go ahead and just count this. So I'm just going to say, so we could go ahead and count this, and I'm going to say dot count, just like that. And we could just, let's say, show something like 2 unread messages, 3 unread messages. And this is going to be coming in really handy whenever I want to start working with notifications and all that. Okay guys, I think that's it. Now just over here below the for, we can go ahead and return. We just say users, which is this one that we ran a for loop on. So that's pretty much it. I could guarantee you that there is nothing else attached, no more strings. And let's go ahead and make migrations and migrate. So I'm going to say python manage.py make migrations. While that is running, I'm going to open up my admins.py, and I want to import a couple of things. And let's also go ahead and migrate. I think that's done. So I'm going to migrate. And when the migrate is done, we'll go ahead and run the server one more time. I'm going to show you guys how this looks on here. So we refresh, everything still works fine. Now come over to site admin, we refresh, everything still works fine, but we can't find the messages thing. Now in order to get it, we need to simply install it over here. So I'm going to say from, I think that's from chats.models. I want to simply import messages, and I also want to import from import_export.admin I want to go ahead and import export model admin. So you guys are going to see what this does. It's really amazing. I'm going to say class should be messages admin, and over here we could just say I'm going to pass in the import export thing that I got. This is it over here, and we could just say list display, and we could pass in the user, and we could pass in the recipient. Hopefully I stay have them on my clipboard, and we could pass in, let's say, the body. Okay, yeah, let's just say the body. Now after we've done that, we could go ahead and register this. So I could say admin.site.register, and what do we want to register? We simply want to register firstly the messages, then want to register the messages admin. So what does this list display does? Now I'm gonna run my server again, come over here and refresh. Now we've got this messages 10. So if you open up this messages, I'm just gonna come over here and I'm gonna add a new message. So the user of the message is Destiny. Right now I don't have any other user, I've just got Destiny, and the recipient is Destiny. So I'm gonna say hello bro, and I'm gonna save this message. Okay, so as you can see, we got user, we got recipient, we got body. And why is it showing up in this tabular form? That's because we got user, we got recipient, we got body. If for any reason we come over here and add body, that's supposed to be body and not Bobby. I guess I'm used to Uncle Bobby now. So when we refresh this, what do you notice? We got user, body. So that's it. Hopefully you guys understand. It's as simple as that. And we can also put something else. Let's just say we wanna pass in list underscore filter. Then we could say we want to filter by is red. So whenever we could filter, okay, let me just show you guys what this does, and you guys are gonna understand. So when we refresh this now, as you can see, there is red over here. We could say yes. So if we pass in yes, then it's going to go ahead and get all the messages that are already red and the ones that are unread. And that reminds me, alongside the body, I can also pass in is red over here. So let's refresh this, and let's see. Okay, what you notice is red. So I'm going to add in a new message, and I'm just going to fill this in. Simple as that. And I could just pass in whatever message I want over here, and I'm going to say this one should be is red. I'm going to save this, and right now we got a message that's red and not red. So if we say it is red is yes, then it's going to get search. It's going to get only the messages that are red, and if you say is red should be no, then it's going to get only the messages that are not red. And if we click on those two total over here, it's going to get all the messages. As simple as that. Now what does this import export model admin thing that we passed in here, what does it do? Now we could go ahead and export those tables that we've got, and we can export it as a CSV file, so we could be able to open up it up in something like Microsoft Excel. I'm going to click on that, and it should go ahead and open this up in Microsoft Excel. And as you can see, what do you notice? We got the message, we got the body. I'm going to open this up. As you can see, we got the recipient. Now all this gets stored in ID, and this is going to work perfectly well when you want to import it again. So as you can see right now, this is in my downloads folder. Now you can go ahead and import this. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. Come over here, and let's say no. So if I come over to my messages, I could go ahead and import this. For any reason I lost my database and I've already had a lot of messages, I can simply come over here, come over to imports, and I think I clicked on export again instead of imports. This is supposed to be imports, and I'm going to choose file. I'm going to click on this messages, come over to format CSV, and I'm simply going to submit. So now this is going to, as you can see, there are already fields that matches, so nothing is going to happen, but we could just go ahead and confirm imports. And what do you notice? Imports finished with 0 new and 2 updated messages. So because we've got those messages that we exported, it's just updated them to the latest one. Okay, so guys, I think that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys understand everything that went on, and if for any reason you don't understand something, do not hesitate to drop a comment in the comment section below, and I'm going to help you guys explain whatever is it that's your problem. Hopefully I'm going to see you guys in the next video. We're going to go ahead and start working with the views.py. We're going to write functions to do a whole lot of cool things, send messages, search users, send directs, and trust me, it's really going to be amazing. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Do make sure to drop a like, consider subscribing, as it really mean the world to me, and also turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any single series from this episodes. Okay, and also if you've got a couple bucks to spare, do make sure to check out my YouTube membership. Training is really gonna mean the world to me. And also if you want to get the template for this, do make sure to check the link in the description below. From there you could go ahead and get the steps to get access to the source code and the template. So that's it. I hope to see you guys in the next video. For now, mad love, peace out.